Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. In this one, I will tell you about the symbolism and meaning of the Three of Swords in the Thoth deck. As usual, I will start with the description of the card and then we will be diving deeper into the symbolism of all of the elements that we can see here. I will list the meanings of this card in divination at the end of the video, and the timestamp for when I start talking about that is shown below now, so you can jump there if you want. There is no doubt that this card will not show us a positive outcome. One look at it tells us that we are in trouble here. We have a very dark and stormy background here. The sword of the Magus that we remember from the Ace of Swords is piercing a rose now, destroying it with two other smaller swords. The rose is losing petals, and we can see some strange chaotic geometrical shapes in the background of the card. Everything here shows us that there is something bad happening. We get a sense of sadness and despair when we look at this image. Crowley gives a very short description of this card in the Book of Thoth. The symbol represents the great sword of the magician, point uppermost. It cuts the junction of two short curved swords. The impact has destroyed the rose. In the background, storm broods under implacable night. If we compare this sword to the one in the Ace of Swords, we can see that the crescent moons forming the guard of the sword are much smaller now. If you remember from the video about the Ace of Swords, I was talking about how the power of the sword comes through three feminine energies. And the lunar energy connected to the Priestess card links Tiferet and Keter on the Tree of Life. We see that this energy is diminished here in the Three of Swords. If we compare the placement of the elements in this card to the Tree of Life, we can see that it's Tiferet that is the yellow rose here. So it is Tiferet that is being destroyed here by the three swords. This card has a very strong Saturnian energy. On the Tree of Life, we are in the third Sephira Bina, connected with Saturn and color black. This is the beginning of Pillar of Severity. Bina is the sea of all potential. This is where both life and death have a beginning. Because this is where the energy traveling from Keter gets its second limitation of time. As time begins, we also have a beginning of the process of aging and decay. Let's hear now what Crowley tells us about the energy of this card. Bina, the Great Mother, here rules the realm of air. Bina is here not the beneficent mother completing the Trinity with Keter and Hokmah. She represents the darkness of the Great Sea. This is accentuated by the celestial lordship of Saturn in Libra. This card is dark and heavy. It is, so to speak, the womb of chaos. There is an intense lurking passion to create, but its children are monsters. This may mean the supreme transcendence of the natural order. Secrecy is here and perversion. The chaotic background of the card shows us the darkness of the Sea of Bina. This card shows its shadowy side that brings chaos, secrecy, and perversion. The symbolism of the rose is connected with secrecy, as you probably remember from the previous video about the Two of Swords. We had a blue rose in that card, here we have a yellow one. Yellow roses symbolize friendship and devotion, and here this color is also connected with the yellow of Tiferet, the sixth Sephira on the Tree of Life. So we can say that it's friendship that is being destroyed here. We were devoted to someone and our trust has been betrayed. Tiferet is our center, our harmony and heart, and this is all that's being attacked here. The energy of this card is showing us that we are losing the very center of our being. Our identity is being challenged here. The rose has 16 petals in total, and this is connected to the 16th card of the major arcana, Tower. Here we have a forceful destruction, some violent event that we were not ready for, but an event that brings us necessary change that needs to happen in our lives. If we resist change and if we don't want to introduce it into our lives when it's needed, it can still come to us in this form, in the form of sudden destruction. We can see that 3 petals have already detached from our rose. It's in the process of being torn apart by the swords. So with 3 petals gone, we have 13 left, and this of course is related to the 13th card of Major Arcana, Death. Here we also have an end of something, but at the same time this is a new beginning. Some things in our life have to die to make space for new energy and new experiences. And these energies of change are very painful and difficult to go through, but very often we see the deep meaning in them once we are safely on the other side of the experience. We notice that this is also a part of life, and the difficult times that we go through teach us something. They give us perspective and help us become better people. And sometimes they also forcefully align us with our true path in life. And now let's have a look at the decan that we are in. The second decan of Libra is the energy of Saturn in Libra, and the time frame associated with this decan is from the 3rd of October until the 12th of October. Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. It can really express all of its powers here, and it can create something beautiful through suffering and pain. If we think about the restrictive and extremely organized energy of Saturn, we can imagine its power is like the pressure that creates diamonds. We might be going through a very difficult time in life, but when it's over, we are thankful that it happened to us because facing it made us realize our true power. Saturn's exaltation in Libra is the training of a ballet dancer. This is the pain of playing the guitar before the skin on the player's hand hardens. And these are the hours upon hours of practice and millions of repetitions required to achieve perfect movement, perfect rhythm, and perfect sound. The heartache and suffering of the Three of Swords is not pointless, it has a meaning. Even though Crowley calls it the womb of chaos, there is something that we gain from going through it. He also says that anything created here will be a monster. So when we are in the midst of chaos, our only mission is to survive, to take care of ourselves, and bring back balance in our life. If we try to do anything while still suffering, it will only bring more suffering into the world. And it's a very important reminder that our well-being always should come first. We need to recover so that we can do good in the world. And if we are suffering, we are unable to do anything truly good, and we are unable to be helpful to anyone else. And now I'm going to tell you a bit about how to interpret this card in divination. The Three of Swords shows us sorrow. This is suffering and heartbreak. This card is most often explained as relating to breakup of a romantic relationship, but I found that in my readings it most often shows sickness. There is an element of secrecy and betrayal in this card, so whether it's a work-related reading or a question about a relationship, we know that when we see this card, things will not go our way, and we should be on the lookout for possible betrayal of trust. In spirituality, a Three of Swords shows us that the energy is in a very poor shape. So thorough cleansing is needed, and we need to rest and recover from whatever has happened to us. If this card describes a person, it will be someone unhappy and grim. It very often shows that this person is currently experiencing something very painful or is unwell at the moment. If this card shows up in your reading as an obstacle, it will tell you to take a good care of yourself first before doing anything else. Your recovery and your well being is most important here, and you should understand that you will do more harm than good if you try to do anything while still being in this frame of mind. So sometimes this card shows up when people who are not ready try to enter new relationships. It's very difficult to start something new if you haven't properly grieved and if you are still hurting from some past betrayal. So give yourself time to heal first and before you get involved with someone else. As advice, the Three of Swords will be telling you that the road to what you are trying to achieve will be very painful. Maybe you can pick a different path that will be easier for you. And you need to remember that it doesn't mean that if something is difficult and painful to achieve, it will give you greater pleasure when you finally get to your goal. If what you are doing is not your absolute obsession and passion, maybe it's better to do something different. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like the video, leave a comment, and of course, subscribe to my channel. I would like to thank everyone who is already supporting the channel. I appreciate your help very much. And if you want to start helping, please consider a one-time PayPal donation, or you can become a patron of the channel for just €3 per month. So it's a bit like getting me a cup of coffee to say thanks once a month. If you consider how much you could be paying for a course on tarot, this really is a good value option. Every little bit of your support and every donation is great help and is greatly appreciated. All links are in the video description below. Once again, thank you so much for today, and I will see you in the next video about the Four of Swords really soon. Thank you. Bye!